Hello students, this is assistance on the Pope Urban speech that you have been asked to read as homework. I'm going to use both the highlighter and the target and the pencil as we go through. So the first thing I want to point out is this is the adapted version, and this is written by me from the translation from the French. The challenge version is also on this document, and I will be reading that second, but I thought I'd start with this version. This is a speech by Pope Urban II, and we talked about him today in class. And it's a speech at the Council of Clermont in 1095, according to a historian named Fulcher of Chartres. So I know that this is in France. The speech was made in the year 1095, and the person that wrote it down is this guy right here, who is Fulcher of Chartres. He was a historian. I don't know if he was actually at the speech or he wrote it down a few years later. Right here, this is a little introduction. It says, in 1094 or 1095, Alexius I Comnenus, the Byzantine emperor. So this is the guy who is in charge of the Byzantine Empire, which you know is separate from all the things going on in Western Europe. So this guy, Alexius Comnenus, right here, sent a letter to Pope Urban II and asked for aid from the West against the Turks, who had taken nearly all of Asia Minor from him. And we know that the Turks were the Seljuk Turks, the Muslim people that we read about in class today. My pen is not working that great. Seljuk Turks, okay? So we talked about them in class today. Now I'm going to number the paragraphs. I just have 2, and I'm going to be using the target as we read, and I will also be stopping to mark up the text. So notice that this is a quote, so this is what the Pope is saying. Although you European Christians have promised to keep peace amongst yourselves and protect the rights of the Catholic Church, there is still an important job you must do. Inspired by God, you must put your righteousness to work on another matter that is of concern to both you and God. So he's basically telling people, hey, if you're faithful, I have a job for you. You've got to really take all your faith, and you've got to do this thing that is important to you and to God. Your Christian brothers who live in the East, and by that he means in the Byzantine Empire, need your help quickly. And you must hurry to give them the aid that has often been promised. So I'm going to go through here and I am going to highlight that. So it says, your Christian brothers in the East need your help quickly, and you've got to hurry. You have to hurry up and help them. You have to give them the aid that has often been promised. As you may have heard, the Turks and Arabs, and these are the Muslims that we're talking about, have attacked Christians and conquered the territory of Romania, the Greek Empire, as far west as the shore of the Mediterranean and the Hellespont. And the Hellespont is that bit of water at the Bosporus that's between Constantinople and Istanbul, where we looked at that during the Byzantine Empire. The Turks and Arabs have begun to live in more and more Christian lands and have beaten them in 7 battles. So he means that they have conquered the Christians in 7 battles. The Turks and Arabs have killed and captured many people. They have destroyed churches and hurt the empire. If you let them continue this way, they are more likely to attack other Christians. Because of this, I, or rather the Lord, beg you as Christ's messengers to tell people about this and convince people from all walks of life to hurry to help Christians in the East and destroy the evil people the Muslims, who are living in lands occupied by Christians. I speak to people who are here today, but also to those who are not here. Also, Christ wants you to do this. Okay, remember this sounds a little bit funny, but I rewrote this speech. I'm going to go through and I am going to highlight some things that he has said. So he is saying that the Turks and Arabs have attacked Christians. They've conquered territory that was part of the Greek Empire. They have begun to live in more and more Christian lands. They have beaten Christians in 7 battles. They have killed and captured many people. They have destroyed churches and they have hurt the empire. So all of these things, the Pope is saying, this is what the Muslim has done. And he's saying, because of this, you basically have to hurry up and help the Christians in the East and destroy the evil people who are living in lands occupied in Christians. So he's saying, here's the problem, and here's what you need to do about it. I'm going to go back to reading in paragraph 2 using the target. All those who die, either on the way to a crusade or in battle with the Muslim, shall have all their sins immediately forgiven. I can do this because I am filled with the power of God. It would be a disgrace if Muslims who worship demons should conquer a people who have the faith of an all-powerful God and are made glorious with the name of Christ. The Lord will be really mad at us all if you don't help Christians in the East. All of you who have been busy fighting each other should now go fight against the Muslims and end up winning this war, which should have been fought a long time ago. If you have been a thief, you should now become a knight. If you have been fighting with your brothers and relatives, turn your energy now to fighting these barbaric enemies. If you have been a soldier for hire in the past, fighting for little pay, now fight for an eternal reward in heaven. If you have been wearing yourself out in both body and spirit, now you should work for double honor. Look, on one side will be the sad and poor, on the other will be the rich. On one side will be the enemies of the Lord, on the other his friends. If you would go, don't wait to start the journey, but rent out your lands and start raising money for the trip to the East. And as soon as winter is over and spring comes, set off eagerly on crusade with God as your guide. I'm going to go back and do a little extra highlighting. I'm going to use yellow this time, and I'm going to highlight this first thing that he says in the second paragraph. All those who die, either on the way or in battle with the Muslims, you are going to have all of your sins immediately forgiven. This would have been huge to a person in the Middle Ages, a huge incentive. He says, it would be a disgrace if Muslims who worship demons should conquer a people who have the faith of an all-powerful God. Now, I want to point out that we absolutely know that Muslims do not worship demons. That is utter nonsense. But people at the time, they believed what the church told them, so they would have believed this. The Pope really talks about how the Lord is going to be really mad if they don't free Jerusalem from Muslim control. So now he's setting up something in this part of the speech. He's kind of putting two conflicting things together. He says, all of you who have been busy fighting each other now need to fight the Muslims. And remember, we talked in class about how primogeniture meant that a lot of noble sons were sort of infighting, and that was becoming a problem. He says, if you've been a thief, now become a knight. If you've been fighting with your family, instead fight the Muslims. If you have been a mercenary, You're a soldier for hire. You've been getting not much pay. So now fight instead for an eternal reward in heaven. Of course, you never get to collect on that because you're what? Dead. If you have been wearing yourself out, you've been working and working, your body is tired, your mind is tired, now double down and work instead for this eternal reward. He says, there's those who don't go, they're going to be sad and poor. The other side are going to be rich. People who don't go are enemies of the Lord. People who go are friends of the Lord. And he says, hey, don't wait. Let's get on it. Let's get this party started. Rent out your lands. Get some money together. Start walking east. He says, you're going to go on crusade and God will be your guide. I hope this helps you on your education journey.